The General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, stands as a monumental piece of legislation that has reshaped data protection and privacy. Understanding the intricacies of GDPR is vital, as it has wide-reaching implications for businesses, individuals, and regulatory authorities. In this video, we will provide a comprehensive introduction to GDPR, its key principles, including data protection impact assessments, DPIA, data processing agreements, DPAs, data security, and its implications for all stakeholders. What is GDPR? At its core, GDPR is a comprehensive data protection regulation that was established to harmonize data protection laws across the European Union. It replaced the Data Protection Directive and significantly expanded the scope and enforcement of data protection rules. Key principles of GDPR: lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. GDPR places a strong emphasis on the lawful, fair, and transparent processing of personal data. This means that individuals must be informed about how their data is collected and processed, and this should be done in a clear and straightforward manner. Purpose limitation. Personal data can only be collected for specified, explicit, and legitimate purposes. Organizations must not use data for purposes other than what was initially intended. Data minimization. Data controllers are encouraged to collect only data that is strictly necessary for the purposes they've defined. Collecting excessive data is discouraged, promoting a leaner approach to data collection. Accuracy. One of the core principles of GDPR is data accuracy. Personal data must be accurate, and any inaccurate data should be corrected without undue delay. Storage limitation. Data should not be retained longer than necessary for the purposes it was collected. Organizations are required to establish data retention policies and adhere to them. Integrity and confidentiality. Data controllers and processors must ensure the security, integrity, and confidentiality of the data they handle. This encompasses safeguarding data from unauthorized access or alterations. Accountability and governance. Organizations must take proactive measures to demonstrate compliance with GDPR. They are expected to implement appropriate data protection policies and procedures to ensure data security and privacy. Data subjects' rights. GDPR places significant emphasis on the rights of individuals, referred to as data subjects. These rights include the right to access their personal data, rectify any inaccuracies, request data erasure, the right to be forgotten, and restrict the processing of their data. Data subjects also have the right to data portability, allowing them to transfer their data from one service provider to another. Additionally, individuals have the right to object to the processing of their data in certain situations. Data controllers and processors. GDPR makes a distinction between data controllers and data processors. Data controllers determine the purposes and means of processing personal data, while data processors process data on behalf of the controller. Both controllers and processors have specific obligations under GDPR. Consent. Consent is a critical element of GDPR. It must be freely given, specific, informed, and unambiguous. Organizations are obliged to make it easy for individuals to withdraw their consent at any time. Data Protection Impact Assessments, DPIA. Data Protection Impact Assessments, DPIA, are an essential aspect of GDPR. They are a systematic process for assessing the potential risks that the processing of personal data may pose to individuals' rights and freedoms. Organizations must conduct a DPIA when processing operations are likely to result in a high risk to data subjects, such as when implementing new technologies or processing sensitive data. DPIAs help organizations identify and mitigate privacy risks proactively. Data Processing Agreements, DPAs. Organizations that process personal data on behalf of others are required to have data processing agreements, DPAs, in place. These agreements establish the terms and conditions of data processing, ensuring that data processors adhere to GDPR's requirements and safeguard data privacy. Data security. Data security is a central component of GDPR. Organizations are mandated to implement appropriate technical and organizational measures to protect personal data. This includes measures such as encryption, access controls, and regular security assessments. Data breach notification. GDPR mandates that organizations report data breaches to the appropriate supervisory authority without undue delay. If a breach is likely to result in a high risk to individuals' rights and freedoms, those individuals must also be informed. International data transfers. GDPR regulates the transfer of personal data outside the EU. Organizations must ensure that the recipient country provides an adequate level of data protection or implement appropriate safeguards such as standard contractual clauses. Penalties. GDPR empowers supervisory authorities to impose hefty fines for non-compliance. The maximum fine can be up to EUR 20 million or 4% of the company's global annual turnover, whichever is higher. The impact of GDP. GDPR is more than just a legal framework. It's a pivotal instrument for protecting individual privacy and ensuring responsible data management. This introduction to GDPR covers its key principles, including data protection impact assessments, DPIA, data processing agreements, DPAs, data security, and the significant implications it has for businesses and individuals. In future articles, we will delve deeper into specific aspects of GDPR to provide a more comprehensive understanding of this critical legislation.